What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to do a transformation of the FansToys Arcticons, or their version of the Constructicons, into Gargantus, their version of Devastator. So we just got this guy, Hadid, their version of Mixmaster, and we have now 5 out of the 6 figures in this set. And I did do individual reviews of each of these figures. I did show the transformation into combined mode. However, I did it from robot to vehicle to combined mode. And I wanted to put out a video that goes straight from robot mode to combined mode, because that's how these guys come. They come in the box in robot mode. So for those that are just taking it straight out of the box and going into combined mode, this is going to be the video for you. Now, obviously, we still have one more figure to go. We still have their version of Bone Crusher. They call him Pay. The arm is actually the easiest of all the transformations. So it's not going to be much of a challenge to, once we get that figure, to get in arm mode and just slide it on. I'll show you how this guy goes on. But we will do the video. I just wanted to explain why I'm doing this now. It's lots of tips and tricks on these guys over the time. As we've figured these guys out. I did try to show all those tips and tricks in the videos, but because we went from vehicle to combined mode, it's kind of broken up into different videos. So I wanted to make one video with everything in it. The other thing I want to do is show you these guys together as a team in robot mode. So we haven't done this yet. I haven't showed you the 5. Here they are with their weapons, but also I have the combined mode parts attached to them. Now, it's not all the combined mode parts, but it's most of them. So I'll just go through each one. Scrapper, Gehry, he has this leg stabilizer piece that attaches to the back. And this is all some in one. So that's the term that Bobby and I have coined, Bobby Skullface, for this set, because it's not all in one. They've got some of the combiner parts are part of it, but they really have to come off. It's necessarily parts forming, but you can't get this on the back of him. For Hook, he has the head inside, so he is truly all in one for this part. There's no extra parts that you add on to this guy. For Calatrava, their version of Longhaul, he does have this crotch piece, which you can remove for robot mode if you don't want it on there, but you can attach. He also has the combined mode chest wing, just the tips in here in his legs. You also have longer versions of this, so if you don't want to use the short ones, I'm going to use the short ones today and show you, how those attach. So he's got the wing tips as well as the hip skirts for the robot mode, which attach to this crotch piece. Those are up here. And then we've got this guy. Now, I failed to show this, but Mixmaster came with these drills, and the drills are attached to these hip pieces. And these hip pieces actually attach in vehicle mode to both Scavenger and Bone Crusher. So there's a little slot right here. You'll see a peg. And obviously more meant for vehicle mode than it is for robot mode. But you can store it back here. So there you go. Something like that. Obviously not intended for this, but you can store that hip and drill on his back. And then lastly, we've got Mixmaster, which this piece here becomes his heel, basically the back of his leg mode. So the only parts that you don't see here are the hip for this guy, which is attached to this drill. Now this will mount also using this slot right here to Bone Crusher. We don't have Bone Crusher yet, so in theory this can store on the Bone Crusher's back. But you do need this hip piece for this transformation. And we can do it with just this. Like everything you see here is enough for combined mode. However, you also have this piece, which kind of cleans up the chest. You don't have to use it. It really is for aesthetics, to cover up the chest and kind of make it more cohesive. I am going to show you how to use this, because honestly, I think it looks way better with this than without it. It looks kind of unfinished without it, but just for your information, you can transform it without it if you want to. All right, starting off with Scrapper, they call him Gehry. We're going to go ahead and remove this And we can bring this around to this side. You can fold that down and just leave that there for now. But this is going to end up attaching to Gehry, with this being on the front, this is the back. So just set that down. Got some work to do here. And I'm realizing this video is going to be pretty long because there's a lot of steps. So we're basically going to get parts of him into vehicle mode and parts of him into combined mode. So we're going to come back to here. We can unpeg this from right here. That's just plugged in. You can pull this away, pull this out. We can accordion this out and slide it up on these sliders. And I'll show you from this side. Open up this panel right here. We can flip this around to the outside. And then these will also slide out. And we can get this combined together into his shovel. And I have this the wrong way. This should be on the inside. All right, so get that into the shovel like this. And we'll open up this. And I recommend having a spudger handy for this transformation just because there will be some stuff along the way where it's challenging to get it moved. There we go. All right, get those little teeth up. We can get this. Actually, this can stay down. And that'll plug in there and there. And eventually we'll get this. We'll have the armatures in there. So we don't need to close this up just yet. We'll do that after we get those pieces in. All right, so just leave that right there for now. We're not gonna fully attach that part yet. All right, bring this back out of your way. This can just sit on the front here. The head we're going to lift up. This will rotate in and just stow away inside the chest. Come to the arms and we'll get this folded away. So open up this. Make sure our hand is folded up into a fist. Fold that in. Close that up. We're going to rotate this around to the direction. So this, open this up, flip this around, rotate that in, straighten this up, rotate this around. We are going to open these up. This might close on you, but you do want these clips out. That's going to end up attaching to that little hook on this extra piece here. All right, get this out of the way, and we'll work on some of this. This part is actually configured correctly for combined mode, but we have to get out the panel inside here. So this is on a double hinge here. So what you really want to do is get this unpegged from here. It's like notched in here. Once you get that out, you can lift this up a little bit and open up this panel. Just get it past here and then put all that back. You know, you really just need to remove that piece. And again, these clip in around here. So it should be something like this with this panel sticking out. This is going to come down and sit right in there. All right, so we had to get this panel right here folded back. So you can grab a spudger and pop this open right there. That will allow you to lift this up and out of the way. Fold this up and out of the way so it gets all the way to this side. And that's part of his lower leg. You can put this back down. That can come back down. This will come and sit right in here and just hold into that piece. That can sit there. This will end up attaching to the lower leg, but for now it's just going to stay there. All right, bring these arms, unpeg them from the sides, bring these in. Same on this one, unpeg this, bring it in. And you should have something like this. And I am going to now attach this. Now, here's a little trick that FansToys didn't really talk about. It's not in the instructions. It's not anywhere. Is you want these reversed. So in the instructions, in the video, I believe, they've got it this way. Let's see, this way. And it's angled out a little bit. But you want it so that you have these towards the front. And that will make the leg shorter. Because what was happening is people had the leg too long and it wasn't fitting. All right, so what we got to get done here is we want to attach this to here. So bring this up. You'll see there's a peg on the inside. You're going to push this to the outside to kind of lock it in place. Let's put this down. Do it here. Get this in. Get that pegged in. Now we can open up this panel that we had collapsed before. And plug that in there. And that will lock in that armature. All right, same on this one. Get this folded down. Tab it in to the inside. And then lock it in there. And then open up this panel here. And get that tapped in. So here's how your shovel should look. All right. Let's take care of this. So this is a little tricky, but you're going to feed this through. It's going to come to the other side. This will clip into the back here. And these two pegs on the back of this are going into two slots here on the back of this. So line all that up. And it's also pegging in back here. And this is a die cast piece, so it is a really secure fit. Right? Again, you fed this through. This will come in and attach to the bottom of the shovel. So these should work their way around this section here. If you have trouble aligning, just move this up and down until you get it to the right position. But this should fit into here and here. And when you're done, it should collapse down and fit inside like that. All right. And then finishing touch, this will come up and clip onto these two pieces. Bring this in. Make sure these are straight, and that will line up right there and fill that little gap. All right, so that's how your lower leg should be looking. It's kind of important to get this part right, because if you don't, then you'll have the wrong height on your foot. All right, next we'll take care of the legs, and this is the easier part of this transformation. Go ahead and open up this panel. Flip this open. And take the foot, and we want to end up with this facing the outside. You're going to rotate this up, and that'll sit right there. Like that. We'll flip down at this hinge, not at the knee. Bring this around, and you'll see this ends up right here. Bring this tire to the inside, rotate it back. Actually, get this panel out while we're here. Rotate this to the back. That'll end up sitting right in this little cavity here. You can close that up, close that up. You can see the tire sticks out a little bit. And then back here, we'll bring this down, bring this to the outside, and plug that in right there. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And then we can take this whole section. Now, I forgot to show something, but you want to slide the hips out just like that. It's probably easier if you do this before you get to this step, but since I forgot, I'm going to do it now. All right. So once you collapse those hips in, you can compress this together, tab it together. Give that a good squeeze, and there is your leg assembled. All right, next we'll take Hadid or Mixmaster and get him transformed. And first we'll take off this section here and get this transformed. Bring these panels around. Bring this up. These will fold to the other side and straighten up those panels. And that's basically ready to become his heel. So you can set that aside. And the other, piece that's used for his, head box, sometimes this comes undone. It comes undone from the top here. So you can just clip it back in. No big deal. But we're going to start in the arms. So open up this panel. Fold the hand in. We can collapse down. Lift up on this, collapse down that panel. We'll rotate the arm out and then bring this over to this side. That's one arm done. I'll just do the other one quickly. All right, so those arms are good to go. Now we'll take care of this chest section. Now, this transformation is slightly different than going to vehicle mode. So you're going to lift up on this. When you do that, that'll detach this, the barrel. I like to just get this out of the way. So open this up, rotate this around. I just like to get it completely out of my way. This will lift over, and that's what I was talking about. That panel likes to come off. I don't love that. It's kind of an irritation, to be honest. But we're going to lift up on this panel right here. And you might need a spudger to get in there and pop that open. That'll allow you to lift this up and over the head. So you get some to this side. This you're going to rotate around. And we're going to fold out this little panel right here. Oh, yeah. So you got to get this chest panel open. Then we can take this, bring this down, and bring this to the other side. And now you've got some space to work back here. While we're at it, we might as well extend this. You have to push this in. The first time you do it, it's going to be very, very tight. Now I've loosened it. I've put some, lube in there. But you want to push this out. That'll lock this from sliding down. All right, make sure you have this extended. We're going to bring the arms in and rotate them around and make sure they're flattened out all the way. You can tell because this should be flush with this. So bring that down. If it's not flush, give it a little push right here. And it should tab in right there and flatten out on the top. You really want that flush down into it. There we go. Bring this down and cover that up. Same on this side, bring this around and collapse that down. Make sure it's going all the way flush. This one came flush easier. Bring that down and sit that on the back. The head will come down and sit in the middle of the two arms. We'll bring this back around, and this is where we're rotating the cab to face backwards. It's going to end up this direction. Now, you don't have to. You can put it the other way. However, it won't fit properly, so I'll just show you in a second. Get this collapsed in. There's two pegs on each side, so those pegs have to fit into slots on each side. So this is how it's meant to go. You want to get this clipped in here. You can reverse this. I showed pictures where you reverse this around. Basically have it the other way. You'll have issues getting it to fit underneath this due to this little purple piece here that's going to collide with the back of this. So if you do try to get it like this, it won't fit properly. So unfortunately for those that want the cab reversed, it's not really a good option for that. All right, now before we get this all collapsed down and compressed together, we have to come to here and get these panels out. So we're going to rotate this to the side, flip out this panel right here, rotate out this section. Same on this one, flip out this little panel, rotate out that section. Then you can rotate this back this way and bring this up. You have to compress this in so it flattens and gets flush. Bring down that toe. Then we'll bring this up and make sure that it's all collapsing in here. And it should make its way underneath this. There's two clips here. Right, so make sure that goes in. Then we'll clip this in. There's 1, 2, 3 pegs here, 3 pegs here, and then these two are going in the front. All of that at the same time. And don't forget this last piece on the back has to collapse in as well. And make sure the arms are straight. If the arms aren't straight, this part here, then you'll have trouble tabbing this in. There we go, I got that side. Let's check this side. All right, I think we got all that. Then you'll bring this panel up, close this around, bring this up, close that around. Open these up, bring this up, and you're bending on this hinge right here to get it folded up like this. All right, and now we can take this piece, which we configured earlier. This clip right here is going into this slot right here. And then the front, there's a clip right here, a peg, going into a slot here. So slide this forward. Get these rear tabs in first. Then get these into here and tabbed in on the side. Close this down to lock in that side. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. Bring this in. Get that tab in. Get this tab in. Unfortunately, I undid this, so get that back in. Give that all a squeeze, and there you go. There is the foot complete. Now we got to take care of all this. So let's take a look at the upper legs. We'll open up this section here. That's going to fold underneath this and just sit right there. Same on this side. We'll come to here. Pull back on this section here, rotate this up, clip it right back in, open up this panel here. We're going to rotate the thigh 180 degrees. Come to here, you're going to unpeg this foot from shin, fold out this wheel section, open this up. This will come back in. You can just close it back down. Come back in, and we'll open this up. This will clip onto the outside of that wheel section. Bring this back down, fold that in. So that's how one side looks. Then we'll do this side. Actually, we're going to extend this. So open up this panel here, pull this up as far as it'll go. Bring this back down and tab it in right here on the bottom. So that's one side. That's how it should be looking. Go ahead and do the other side exactly the same. I'll do that off camera and then we'll combine it together. All right, here's how we're looking after getting both legs prepped. Pull out this panel. Bring these together. And actually don't peg them in together yet, but so we got to do some work with the barrel. Pull up on the barrel. Pull up on the back of the barrel. We're going to accordion this out. It's a little tricky, but it does rotate up on a double hinge here. You can see it's on a slider. And I like to leave this out. The actual official transformation is you fold that in and put that down like this. I prefer it with that cement chute facing out, so it doesn't affect anything. I'm going to leave it out. But again, the official transformation is you put it in. Okay. So have this barrel extended. They'll have the bottom of the barrel extended. Come to the inside here. You're going to fold out this armature. So you have this with 2 pegs on it. This will fit in between the legs. You'll see there's a little slot right here for that clip. So get that attached, and then get this attached on this side. Squeeze the 2 legs together, get them all tabbed in all the spots, up here, down here. Put in this retaining clip. That will really lock all of this together. Push this back if you want this look. If you don't, just hide it away inside. And I think, oh, one last thing, we're going to take this, clip this into the thighs, and then this will sit right on top in this section. All right, next we'll take care of Longhaul, and he is by far the most complicated and the most frustrating. There's a couple steps that even after many practices, I still struggle with them. First thing we're going to do is come to the back here, fold this down, and we're going to unpeg this from his backpack. That'll allow you to fold this back and slide this off. And it's just going to give us space to work. We're going to end up putting it back on later, but right now we just need some space. Now we're also going to remove these on the top. So come to here. I recommend a spudger to help you pop this open, especially if it's the first time you've done it. You know, this is very tight, but you're going to pop this mushroom peg off of this. All right, see them on this one. Pop that mushroom peg out. But to configure these hip skirts, you're going to fold this in, fold this up, and fold this out. So that's one side. This, fold this in, fold this up, and that's how it should be sitting. All right, so set those aside and set aside this hip skirt piece as well. We'll take care of this a little bit later. All right, let's get going this guy. We're going to partially transform him into his vehicle mode, but not all the way. It's tricky. Open up this section here. Again, I recommend a spudger. Fold that panel in, fold the hand in, and fold that panel down. We're going to detach this here on this side. There's 2 points of separation. There's one here and here. You want this one for the combine mode. I'll rotate to the back, and this will tab in right there. All right. Same on this side again. All right. We're going to come to here, undo these clips. That's what's holding this arm section in. We'll also come to the back here and undo these. And we basically want to get this whole section rotated back. It's pretty tricky. Actually, while I'm here, I'll rotate this up, rotate this up. This one's a little trickier, so I grab a spudger. Rotate that up, rotate that up. All right, we had to separate the ab crunch. So it's very tricky. This one's easy, but the other one is really tight. It doesn't sound good at all. It doesn't feel good, doesn't sound good, but this right here is what you're separating. And we need to rotate this entire section here around. It is tricky. So we're going to unpeg this from here. Lift up the arms. Rotate this around. So you get this on the front. Okay. And you're basically combining it like it's going to be vehicle mode. Bring these back. Bring this in. This will end up like this for the combine mode. Just leave it down like this for now, because otherwise it's going to keep getting in your way. You can open this up. Get this collapsed down here. Okay. Back here, we can bring this back down and close up both of those ab crunches. So you end up with these two clips sitting back. If you have everything right, you'll have this on the front and these two clips on the back. All right. We'll take care of the back piece. This is the most challenging and annoying thing about this transformation is this. Let's see. So we're going to rotate the head around, collapse this down into the body. So it just flattens out right here. And I just noticed I had this extended already, but you're going to lift this up and rotate this around. You can use a spudger to like rotate it. If you have it right, it won't collapse back in. Come to here. Another very challenging thing out of the box is this slider doesn't slide. I have mine sliding very easily because I've put some shock oil in there to allow it to slide. But the first time you do that, you're going to need a spudger. You're really going to have to jam it open. Come to the top here, open up this, and come to the back. You're going to open up this, and I don't want to break my nails, so I'll use a spudger to grab that. Now, later, this is going to attach to hook. It's a very subtle thing, but on his arm, one of the wheels has a little panel that opens, that attaches to this. It just helps secure it. Very subtle and not, obvious in the instructions. All right, now we'll do the hard step, which is this plug back in, which is come back to here. And we need to get this, the arm section underneath this. So let's get this out of the way. And we'll take care of this. All right, this next step is probably the most challenging part of the entire thing. I find it very frustrating and not easy to reproduce. But get these sliders down. These are going to clip into the side. And then these will come and fit into slots on the arms. You can see there's a lot of chewed up plastic because it's really challenging to get it all in there. Tolerances are pretty tight. But we're going to bring this in. Bring this in. Rotate these up. Make sure these shoulders are collapsed all the way in. These are going to make their way right past these pieces. Make sure it fits past. And then as you bring it down, you're going to bring these arms up and get them collapsed in over that. And those green tabs fit inside the arms. That's probably the smoothest I've ever gotten it. On the front here, these black tabs are going to fit into the front bumper here. You can see them protruding right there. And that'll kind of lock all that in place. For now, just leave this here. We're going to end up taking care of that a little bit later. But that's how we should be looking. Okay, we have this tab here, and this peg here. Those are all for combined mode. And this is now locked in place. All right, come to here, undo this, and just rotate that down. Lift this up and fold this back. Same here. Those will get out of your way. We're going to rotate your legs back. And we'll come to here. We're going to unpeg this from here. Come to your thigh, unpeg this. This clip will come up. And there we go. Should sit like that. Clip that in. And slide this out to the outside. Right here. We'll do that again. That was kind of messy. Come to the front, unpeg this tab, unpeg the thigh, bring this up, open up that clip, that'll tab in right there. This should be flush right there. Slide the thigh to the outside. All right. bring these thighs back. On the back here, we're going to unpeg this. Bring that down. That's going to sit right there. Open this up. Open this up. Open this up. Open this up. Open up your wheel. And that will end up sitting flat on the back here, like this. Actually, before we do that, we got to open up these panels here. This will fold flat and sit on the back. So here's how it's looking. And we can bring this up. This thigh should be rotated so it's straight right here. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And these two pieces are going to attach together. So in order to do that, we'll open up this and open up this. Fold this down in the middle. And we'll align these two panels. Make sure the thighs are both horizontal and the waist swivel is straight. Right, so that's how it should look. Get this peg together. And get this peg together. Clip that together. Leave these open. That's your backpack piece. All right, now that we have the backpack together, we can plug it in. There's a circular slot and a kind of a triangular peg that's going to go into here. It doesn't like lock in, it just kind of tabs in there. Not super tight, but it does fit in there. All right, come back to the front. Now we'll take care of this section. So this whole hip skirt thing is a little tricky. So you're going to bring in this piece now. This is going to slide into here. So get that lined up and slide that in. Then we can come to the front, and right here we're going to attach these hip skirts that we put together earlier. And remember, these are, Longhauls, back shoulder pads or whatever. We're going to bring this up into here. This clip really holds everything together. There's a lot riding on that clip. Let's get this out of the way. So bring this up, and you got to push down on this. The first few times it took a lot of strength. Now it just goes in pretty easy. And maybe I have, good finger strength, but that should be flush with the purple. All right. Come to the back here. We're going to install the hips. So the hips will slide in. You'll see there's 2 rails here and then a single rail on the bottom that'll fit into tracks on this piece right here. So get this lined up. Slide that all the way forward as far as it'll go. All right, same with this one. Slide it all the way forward as far as it'll go. Then we'll bring this up. This will clip in to the back like that. That'll lock those hips in there. Then you're going to come to here. You're going to open up this. There's a small little peg inside of this that we need to get out. So use a spudger or something, but we're going to grab this smaller clip. And that's going to plug into that tab right there. So bring this back, plug that tab in. And then these are retaining clips that hold that on there. So push those all the way in. All right, so here's the top of the legs. And I'm just going to show you from the back. So we're pushing it forward here. This has a single rail. This has a double system. That's how you know which goes on which. So we'll get this one on first. You're going to basically push it over these tires. So get that on there and then push it over the tires. The tires will roll as you do that. Right, so that's what it looks like. And then this one, same thing. Get those rails lined up, push it all the way forward. And if you have it like this, it's not all the way in. You want to get these as flush as you can with the back. So that's how it should be looking. Here's the front of that. All right, next we'll take care of hook. And if Longhaul is the hardest, this is maybe the second hardest, especially just getting it together with Longhaul. So let's start on arms. So come to here, pull down this panel. You might have to bend the elbow. Rotate, make sure the hand is folded up into fist. Rotate that in and tab that back in the other side. And same for this one. Those hands hidden away. And while we're here, I'm going to show you something. So on the front of this elbow, you'll see one elbow is different. So if you open this up, you can lift open this. There's a little place to grab your finger. This peg is going to plug in to that slot on the back of Longhaul. And it's a tab that's easily missed, but it definitely helps with a little bit more stability in the combined mode. So we're going to fold it down for now, but later we're going to fold that out, and actually that's going to plug into Longhaul. Come to the head, slide this back on a slider. It's really tight. Push it back as far as you can. You can collapse these in, shoulder pads, and that'll be very difficult when you first get this figure, so you'll have to either put some, shock oil or something to get these to slide a little bit better. Mine are okay now. All right, we're gonna push the head down, which will also force this chest piece out. You're gonna lift out this piece, which is actually part of the combined mode. The head should fold down and sit flush over there. Like that. And just leave this out for now because we're gonna need to configure this later, but something like this on the bottom. Come to the back here and we'll take care of the legs. So legs have to not only collapse down, but also almost configure them into the vehicle mode. So rotate it like this. Open up this panel. Open up this panel. We'll accordion the leg down. Fold out this piece right here. That's going to sit on top of this panel. Fold in this 90 degrees and then close that up. And that's how the leg should be configured. We'll also take care of this in a second. Actually, we'll do that now. So open this up, open that up. We want to release all this. This is going to be configured for combined mode, not vehicle mode. So we have to open up this panel. There's a little hidden panel in here that we need to get out. And you might need a spudger or something to assist you. Basically get this panel folded out. All right. Attached already, but essentially we'll have something like this. Let's come down and sit here, and this will sit on the back. So that's how we're looking. All right, let's do this one. So same thing, rotate the thigh, open this up, open that up, collapse your leg down, close this back up. Lift this out and close this back up. Sit this on top, rotate this 90 degrees, close that in. So your leg ends up like this. Now we'll configure this. Open this up. Open up this. This will untap from down here. And again, this one eats me up because I get a little lost, but we're going to rotate this panel out. This panel open. Rotate this out. And then rotate this up. And rotate this to the top. We're actually not going to attach this, but when you're going to vehicle mode, you end up attaching that. All right. We're going to rotate this ankle around. I believe we're going to bring this onto the outside. So it sits like this. You can bring this back down. And these two leg pieces should tab together. So there's an over-under tab right here. So get that underneath and then tabbed in there. And it's a little tricky to get that. There we go. Got it. Make sure this is all tabbed together. Don't tab these in just yet because we're gonna end up moving that. Sorry, this folded down and then this folded down on top. So that's how it should look, this piece here. All right. It looks a little messy, but you actually this is how you need it. You want this hanging down and this hanging down on the bottom of him. We got to get his waist undone. So come to this side, unpeg this. That will free this armature to swing. All right, so then we're going to swing this around, this armature. There is a clip right here that's going into this tab. So bring this around, rotate this green piece so it's straight, and get this configured right there. Tab that in. All right, then we got to get this arm attached, and there's a collapsible hinge here on the arm, so you're going to push that down. Tab here going into a slot there, and then there's a slot here on the top of the arm that's going to peg into this on the bottom. There's a lot going on here. So first, let's collapse this arm down on this double hinge. Tab this in to the side, and then work this up and tab it into this top part here. This part's probably the hardest, is that the peg on the top. It doesn't like to go easily. There we go. It does secure pretty well, but you got to be kind of forceful with it. I don't love the feeling of it. This should tab in right here. So that's the one side, and I folded this up accidentally. This will come up and clip into here. So get this inserted and tabbed. It doesn't really tab, it kind of just rests right there. Right? This should just stay down like this. I'll show you how to take care of that later. Come to this side and we'll take care of this arm now. So this arm, we're going to bend the elbow here. And we're going to collapse this down on that double hinge. Tab it in. Make sure you get that tab on the inside of the arm. And this will just sit right up and butt up right against this. I know it's a little weird, but that's how it sits. All right, for these two panels, you can get them tabbed together right here. And collapse this down, and this will sit right on top and cover up all of that. Make sure these are collapsed down, but that's how that looks. And for this, we're going to take, there's a little bit more to do. So we're going to come to here, and we'll lift up on this and open that up. Rotate this around 180 degrees. This is the arm rail. Bring that back up, push that back down, And I'll come to this side and we'll take care of this now. Rotate this to the back. Open up this panel. That will allow you to take all of this and open that up. Here is your Devastator head. You're going to open up this panel right here. Bring this down. In the instructions and in other videos, I've seen this folded down like this. It just sits loose. I don't like that. So what I do is I put it right here. Again, that's an option, but it does have this at an angle. You know, no matter how you do it, it kind of floats. It doesn't sit flat. You'll see there's a space between it. So that's why I'd rather put it here. Take the head, slide that back. It'll just go one click out. Rotate the head out. And we can close this back down. Close this back down. Tab that back in. For the head, we can rotate this to the front. Open up these panels. Flip the head out. And then clip these back in on the sides. There's your Devastator head, and this side has the rail for the arm already. So for Bone Crusher, we don't have to do anything else. It's ready to receive the arm. So when we get Bone Crusher, literally all we'll have to do is transform him into arm mode and slide him on. There's nothing else you'll have to do here. All right, next we'll get Hook combined with this chest plate. And I recommend doing this step first before attaching this to Longhaul. It just makes things easier, at least in my opinion. So you're going to feed this panel through this slot, and this will end up sitting down in this little cavity. So feed this through, bring it all the way up, plug this in, plug this in. And this will just sit right here, and it'll make sense when we put Longhaul, but this is going to plug in. All right, next we're going to combine Hook and this chest plate with Longhaul. This is one of the more frustrating steps of this transformation. One of the reasons for that is 2 of the connection points are blind. So I'll show you everything before I start assembling it. So there's one spot right here. You can see there's like a mushroom peg in there. It's actually the 2 legs that came together to form that mushroom peg. That's going into this smokestack. Then you've got this hole in his chest right here, that circular hole. That's going into this peg on the top of Longhaul's cockpit. Then coming to the back, we've got this, which is loose right now, but it won't be when we put it in. This peg right here, which came out of Hook's elbow. That will go, and we're going to open up this backpack section here so we can see. That'll go into this slot right here on the back of Longhaul's cockpit. And then the final piece is this one. This one doesn't like fit that securely, but you see there's a little square right here on this panel on the side. That's going to go into a peg right here. It's a very subtle thing, but it's peg on the side of Longhaul's arm. So those are all the connection spots. Now, one thing I forgot to do so far is remove his chest wings, which are stored in Longhaul's legs. You can also use the longer ones, but I tend to use the shorter ones just because less things to get in the way, less things to get collided. So we're going to remove these chest wings. You might have to lift up the wheel to get at it, but go ahead and grab this wing. And here's one. And we'll take this one out as well. And now we have both chest wings, so set those aside. Let's put those wheels back in there. And now we'll combine Hook. So bring this around, fold this up, and this will sit like this. Grab your hook piece, and the best way to align this is to align this hole with this smokestack. That's the indicator of where it goes. So line that up, and once you have it lined up, push this down on top, and it should push all the way down, and come to the back here. These squares should be somewhat flush with this surface right here on both sides. But come to the back. The easiest way to really line things up is to get this tab in. It might actually be blocking you if you don't have it right, so get this collapsed down. And I don't have something. Oh, there we go. It's lined up now. So this should be flush here. This should be sitting on the outside. And this peg should work its way into here. Again, very tight fit, but that'll go in there. You can see that's tabbed in now. Right. We can close this up, just peg it right back in where it was. These like to move around, but they should, in theory, be right there along the edge. Which we can close these up. Right. And then for this one, there's not really much you can see, but this little clip should have made its way onto that black tab on the underside of, on the arm of Longhaul. There's not much you could do if it doesn't make it on. It's pretty tight space there, but this does help hold it on. So if you were to hold him by just hook, he's not going to come off because he's now attached in multiple places. All right. So now let's take care of the wing. So for the wing, you're going to lift up this panel right here, this clip, and that clip will clip in and give that a push. That'll lock this in to up here. You should have this purple piece. You don't want the green, you want it purple. And you want this folded down to make a continuation of the purple, like that. By the way, this chest symbol, I got this from Robo Lucas. He actually sent me a bunch of stuff. He makes really nice metallic decals, as well as this is like a 3D printed decal. So shout out to Robo Lucas for these amazing decals. All right, we're going to get the wings attached. So the way this works is you see a slot there. Let me make sure I have this the right way. This is going to go on this side. So clip this in there and then close this clip, and that'll clip in. And you really want to get it secure. That first attempt, it wasn't all the way in. Now it's really locked in there. You'll feel it and hear it go in. All right, same on this side. Get that plugged in. Close up the chaining clip. And make sure you really get that locked in. All right. Actually, one thing I forgot is we're going to open up this, unfortunately, because I forgot to do it. Lift this up. And inside here, you'll see two little pointy bits that make up the bottom of his chest plate. No big deal. You can just put those out if you forgot. Close that up on top. There is the chest wing fully assembled. All right, last but not least, we've got Scavenger here, which is going to make up the arm. And one of the reasons I'm doing this video now instead of waiting for the final bot is because this arm mode is going to be nearly identical to Bone Crusher's arm mode. It's going to have the forearm and the hand stored inside, and it's going to have some similar transformation sequences just because the bots are similar. So I figured not too much lost if I do it now versus when I do it. Now I'll still do the review of Bone Crusher and show him combining with the rest of the set, but let's get started with this guy. So he's actually pretty easy, although I think the look of the robot mode is my least favorite of the whole set. This guy I think looks the worst. Bring this open. You're going to open up the fingers, straighten that out. Open up this panel, rotate it to the other side, and just leave this open. And then we're going to rotate that this way. So it ends up like that. See, for this one, you can unpeg the arm. It's just clipped in right here. So unpeg it from here. You can kind of get that out of the way. Same here. Unpeg it. Get that out of the way. For the head, we will rotate this around 180 degrees. This panel will come down and basically cover up at least the back of the head. So it looks like that. We'll open this up and open this up. And we're going to fold open these and lift this up. In here, we'll bring these down. Those will actually become part of the combine mode, these faux treads. Lift up and out this hand piece. We'll take care of this in a minute, but I'm pretty sure the bone crusher will be exactly the same as this. Set that aside and come to here. We'll bring this down, back down, and we got to get the arms squared away. So the arms have a slot right here and a tab there, and you need to accordion this double hinge up so it ends up in the right position for this to meet up with this. So get that accordioned up. Now you can see it's going to match up. Bring this down. Actually, get this fingers out of the way. Bring this down and make sure that gets tabbed in just like that. Back there. And same on this side. We're going to bring this over. Make sure you accordion this double hinge up and collapse this down, making sure that tab makes its way into the arm. So you have this. Then bring this down, and you can kind of see, we'll clip this in here. We'll clip this in here, and on this side as well. Oh, there's also a tab on this going into the arm, so that kind of locks that in as well. I hope it wasn't off camera that whole time. All right. For this piece here, we're going to lift this up and out. This will come down. It's on a double hinge here, so you want to rotate that hinge so it ends up inside. And bring this back. This will come over. We're going to rotate this around. This will sit right on top. And that's kind of the stowed away mode. You can also have it sitting out if you prefer that look. I don't, but you can do that. Bring those down. And accidentally opened that, but that should be covering up the head. All right, so that's the top is pretty much taken care of. Now we can take care of this. So come to here, you're going to fold out his waist joint. So this ends up extended like this. Bring down these hip joints. So these end up together like that. We'll come to here. We had to put away these feet. So fold up the heel spurs. Open up this knee joint here. And my apologies. You had to undo this tab right here. That way you can bend this lower knee joint, which will then allow you to open up this panel back here. Right? Then you can get the foot stored in here. Close that up. Come back to here. Fold this retaining clip here. Instead of putting it back here, it's going down into this cavity. Bring this over, and it'll clip into here. And this will just sit on the back of that right there. Bring together the two legs now and tab them together. And there's a couple different tabs in the middle here holding it together. All right, but that's essentially what the arm. Oh, and these you're going to plug in to the bottom of the arm on both sides. This is where the attachment point is. We're going to rotate this. That's the elbow bend. So that is basically ready to go. Of course, we need the forearm and the hand. So here's the forearm and the hand. To get this transformed, flip this over. And we'll fold out these panels. We'll flip this around to the other side. Pull the hand out of this, but then push it back in so we could see, let's see, these retaining tabs. So there's 4 retaining tabs in here. A little tricky to get to, hold on. There we go. So these 4 retaining tabs have to be opened up. I recommend a spudger or something to get in there. Make your life easier. So just right here, you can fold these up. And what that does is it prevents the hand from getting pushed in. Right? You can push this in. This will come down and sit right here. These 2 slots will peg over this right here. So push those in and then slide it up. And I occasionally have trouble with this. Not the slide up joint, I just got that, but aligning these pegs. It looks like it worked this time. So clip in the side, clip in this side, then clip in the top. So there's 2 pegs as well as it's clipping into the 2 side panels. All right, the final step here is to attach the arm to these clips. And you have a rail here on the side. And I imagine Bone Crusher is going to be very similar. Basically, you're going to insert it and slide it down. So I'll show you from this angle. Basically, get this inserted and then slide it down. That's not all the way down, so you got to get a little bit more. There you go. Now that's completely in there. All right, there's Gargantus fully transformed, minus 1 arm. And if you've done it the way I've shown you, you should have everything working properly. One of the issues that people had was the legs were slightly different heights. And the fix for that is to install these arms the correct way onto this shovel. So if you've done it the way I've shown you, you shouldn't have any issues. You have the legs at the same height. You might lean a little bit this way just because you've got 1 arm and no weight on this side to counterbalance it. But other than that, you know, it's pretty much ready to go and receive the final arm. So hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
TM Reviews. What's up, YouTube fans?